Alright, welcome back everyone to another video. So, I gotta be honest, this mod called Spelunky 2.5 is pretty amazing. New areas, new mechanics, new bosses, different endings, and more cool stuff. But what exactly makes this mod so special? So let's break it all down. So what exactly is Spelunky 2.5? This mod created by, sorry if I pronounce the names wrong, but Hareh and TommTamm, you know, my bad if it got it wrong, but yeah. So fundamentally, it changes the game's structure and pacing. Unlike some other mods that just add minor tweaks or other big level changes, this one just kind of stands taller than the rest. This mod introduces entirely new areas, switches up enemy placement to make it feel more fresh and different, and it reworks several core mechanics. Some of the most notable things include new room layouts that dynamically change between runs, the return of more in-depth level feelings from Spunky HD, which introduced unique environmental challenges, as you know, new items, new bosses including Dark Olmec, Multiplying Slime, etc. By the way, those are not the official names. I don't know if there's an official name, but that's what I'm calling them. Revamped boss encounters including changes to Hundun and Tiamat, and more. So the second I first played this game, I could tell that something was different with it in comparison to other mods. I've seen other YouTubers playing this mod, and I realized that somehow I was like the only person who just completely let this mod pass by without noticing. I don't know how I did notice it, but I just didn't really think about making a video or anything like that, which I should have, because this mod is definitely pretty amazing. But anyways, the same old Spelunky 2 level designs obviously get a bit old after a while, but this mod makes Spelunky 2 feel completely fresh, which is, why it's called 2.5. And that's why I love it. But unlike the randomizer, for example, it actually has structure to it rather than just literal randomness. So let's take a closer look at some of the biggest changes. So like I said, level feelings are back, but better. So technically Spelunky 2 already has level feelings like dark levels or restless levels, but in 2.5 they function more like they did in HD, where it had a ton of different modifiers like I Hear Snakes, which is a snake pit, feels like the 4th of July, which was more explosions and aliens in the ice caves, or UFOs, and stuff like that. But this is just, 2 examples. And so I'll, show some examples on the screen while I'm talking about this, just so you get an idea. And basically the overall point is that this mod brings back that level of unpredictability, and so you constantly have to adapt to new things, which is in a greater degree than Spelunky 2. And then I forgot to mention this earlier, but there's not just new bosses, there's also new generic enemies, such as, I think it was like a succubus hidden as a chest in the first level, a giant spider that looks like an alien, and I can't remember a ton, but there's a lot more than that. So it adds a lot more depth to the enemies while retaining, the ones from the game. I think there's also like a giant yeti that's like gold, so it's just kind of like a reskin, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. Unique music such as music from Spunky HD, and there was also ones from other games. Not exactly sure what they're from. Not too familiar, but yeah, mostly still from the Spelunky series, but other stuff as well. And again, I mentioned this earlier, but boss fight overhauls such as Olmec, there's a lot more complications to it, as you can see on the screen. Tiamat, there's more complications such as a drill and other stuff like that. Alien Queen, I believe, was an overhaul as well, and stuff like that. And of course, the classic, and more. Obviously, right? Different items, traps, enemies, like I said, etc. I think etc. is probably my favorite word, because it can say so much and so little at the same time. Anyways, so there have obviously been some fantastic Spelunky 2 mods, like the randomizer mod, which makes every run completely random, and the HD remake, which does, exactly what you think it does, remake assets and stuff like that, and the entire first game. But Spelunky 2.5, I think, sets itself apart by maintaining the game's core identity while introducing deeper strategic elements. It doesn't just make the game harder, it enhances the variety and replayability. And also, this mod uses lots of assets and inspiration from other mods, such as Spelunky HD Remake and Greeny's Encore mod, as it says when you first start it up. And then lastly, this mod is updated super often. Like, the developers are serious about improving this mod and constantly adding more. Like, when I first downloaded it, it was a few months old, but said it was last updated a few hours ago, so definitely means a lot to the people that made it. Last time I checked, it has almost 6,000 downloads, so it's doing pretty well. And so just final thoughts with everything I've said. I haven't seen a mod that quite adds this much and is still going, which is why I make the case that it may be the best mod for Spelunky 2. My question is, do you think so? If you love the game's core mechanics but you want more surprise and variety, this might be the ultimate mod experience for you. In my opinion, the added level of complexity makes each run feel brand new and really unique. It probably is the best mod ever, but let me know what you think. Have you played Spelunky 2.5 yet? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to see more in-depth Spelunky content and indie game content in general, make sure to subscribe, like, and thanks for watching.